Okay, so here is a anterior wax up that we're going to start to design. This patient has multiple failing anterior composite restorations that he would like to have replaced. So we went ahead and did a full arch scan in Prime Scan. We're going to use our cut function to clean up our models. Single left clicking to start, double left clicking to start, and then single left clicking to save our progress, and double left clicking to end our cut. Whenever we're looking at doing a digital diagnostic wax up, we want to make sure that we have the anterior portion of the palate scanned, so that way we have a positive seat for our putty matrix. I also want to make sure I go a little bit beyond, 3 or 4 millimeters beyond our proposed margin restorations. We're going to do the same thing to this. We see that we have a bio copy and a standard copy of the upper jaw. We don't have to scan it twice. We can just drag it over, create a catalog for bio copy, and just move our maxillary or active jaw scan to that area. It's going to become extremely critical when we actually do our diagnostic wax up in the in-lab software. Serval looks good. Let's go ahead and remove all of this excess material on the mandible. At this time, the patient declined orthodontics, which you can see he would greatly benefit from the lower anterior, but overall, we still have enough room to do some better looking anterior restorations. Let's get rid of this here. All of these areas are just going to be unsupported minima, which are going to create issues for our 3D printing process. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut that. And here we go. Okay. So now we're going to go back to administration. And we are planning on doing restorations on 7 through 10. So we're going to click Pontic 7, 8, 9, 10. We're going to change our connectors to intersecting type connectors. And we're going to do veneers on 6 and 11 with intersecting connectors. It doesn't matter what type of material we choose because we're only using this for to trick the software into allowing us to do some pontics. So now you can see here we have the upper jaw. What we need to do now is we need to go ahead and trim the active teeth out of our model. The way we do that is we're going to use the cut tool. And we're going to cut each individual tooth out. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and click Replace. Okay. Go ahead and we'll click Apply. Okay. There's one spot where it doesn't like my line, and it looks like it's right here. So we'll click Apply again. And here is our trimmed model. Now we're going to go into the Form function. We're going to remove. And we're going to create pontic sites. You don't have to do this step. I just find it works a lot easier when we actually give the pontics a little bit of a site to develop. Same thing here. The only thing we're using this model for is to actually develop our digital pontic. We're actually going to be using the bio copy for our overall design. So we'll give this another opportunity to create our space and create our space. All right, overall, I like that basic design. we're going to go ahead to our manual correlation screen, and you're going to see that these models fit together very nicely because they're the exact same scan. Our occlusion is already verified because we took it in the prime scan in a full arch scanning mode. We're going to go ahead and we're going to line this up. Now you see that our biocopy image is what we're actually going to use for our anteriors to help line everything up accordingly. I like to put my posteriors and my canine on this line here. We're going to line our maxillary midline up. And overall, you can see this is our proper model alignment. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to select tooth number 11, tooth number 6. We're going to go ahead and we're going to draw our margins. So the margins, we're going to do a manual margin draw. Double left click to start, single left click to save our progress. And all we're trying to do is draw something small like this to create the illusion that we're trying to do a bridge style restoration. That's why I choose veneer. Because it's a lot easier to manipulate something very small like this with the veneer type of calculation in the in-lab administrative screen. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust our path of insertion, and we're going to click Next. We want to turn everything off for our veneers. We don't want to consider instrument geometry or undercuts. And overall, for our gingival spacing on our pontic, we want to make sure that we are intersecting our model appropriately. So we're going to click Apply. We're going to put everything set at 0. And then gingival spacing at -2000 microns. So overall, that looks good. Same thing here. Click OK. Now we're going to go over to position. Alright, so I'm going to position these teeth how we want them to look. And this is where our biocopy comes in handy. We're going to take our biocopy image and we're going to place these teeth where we want them to look. So we're going to lengthen his incisal edge ever so slightly. There we go. There we go. Overall, the general position of those appear to be pretty good. We're going to go ahead and just bring our there we go. And all right. So I'm just getting a basic general position of how I want his new teeth to look, and overall I'm pretty happy with what I see so far. Lengthen the distal and bring it slightly more lingual. Alright, so now we're going to click Edit Element. What's going to happen here, if we turn off the biocopy, is it's going to start to design these pontics. Overall, we have a pretty nice pontic design, which is excellent. We'll go ahead and turn off our upper jaw, turn on our biocopy, and now you can see our digital diagnostic wax up that needs very minimal adjustment. Go something like this. We'll do something like this. Alright. And all I'm doing is using the two-directional shape tool to get rid of any sort of area on the lingual portion of the tooth that we don't plan on preparing as part of our final restoration. Alright. So overall, here's our basic proposal for our new digital diagnostic wax up. So now we're going to take the distal corner of this tooth and bring it back ever so slightly, like so. Bring our incisal edge into a better position. All right, and overall I'm pretty happy with our basic design for our diagnostic wax up. Now I'll do a couple more adjustments to make these fit his overall facial profile a little bit better. I feel like right now the teeth kind of lack maybe a little bit of anatomical variation, so we're going to make a little adjustment. And the way that we do that is we're going to click Control, and we're going to select all 4 of the anterior teeth. We're going to come over to our tools. We're going to go to our incisal variation tool. We're going to select the strength. Usually I'll do around 20 to 30%, so we'll start with 30%. We'll click through some variations. I like variation 3, and I tend to try to bring it towards the mesial incisal corner, bring it as incisal as possible to really develop that facial mesial line angle. Click Apply. Next thing we're going to do is go to about 30% again. We're going to down to variation 6, which is going to give us a little bit of cervical kind of anatomy. And we'll make it just a little bit stronger. Give ourselves something like that. We'll go ahead and we'll click Apply. Okay. Last thing we want to make sure that we do is we want to turn off our upper jaw, we want to turn off our biocopy, and we want to select just one restoration at a time. And we want to make sure we don't have red intersections between each individual portion of this wax up. Otherwise, we won't be able to separate the shells in Mesh Mixer, which is a critical step. So we'll go to tooth 9. Go to 10. We want light blue. All right. Let's go to 9. We'll go to the mesial. And I'm just using the smooth tool. And I'm kind of counting my clicks. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Perfect. So now we have red exclamation points everywhere, which is going to allow us to carry out this next step in Mesh Mixer flawlessly. So let me go ahead and put this back in. Here's our maxillary model, and this is what this is going to look like. We're going to go to the finalize stage. It's going to give me a warning message saying that the union is not supported. That's okay. We're then going to go to the administration screen once we go to export, administration, and we're going to seat all layers. And we don't want to select our instrument geometry. And now we have our maxillary wax up. So we're going to go File, Export. I'm going to save this as an STL, and this is going to be just an anonymous name here. And we're going to take this over into Mesh Mixer. So we'll take our pre-op, upper, post-op, and our lower, drag them all into Mesh Mixer. All right. Perfect. So now you can see it drug all of our models in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take care of the lower jaw by turning that off. We're going to click on the upper jaw, and we're going to get rid of the pre-op. What I want is this upper wax up that has the altered gingiva highlighted. The next thing we're going to do is click Edit, and we're going to separate out shells. What this is going to do is separate out every individual part of this STL file, And we're going to delete the stuff that we don't need by clicking on it, deleting it, clicking on it, deleting it. So now we have 4 shells and an upper jaw, which we need to make a solid model. So what I like to do to make our life easy is we're going to go ahead and hit this model, Control A. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use the extrude. Sorry, I hit the reduce function. Give me 1 second. It's always frustrating when you hit the wrong click and it takes a couple minutes of time. So it happens to all of us. We're going to click cancel. We're going to go ahead and we're going to extrude this model. We're going to do an offset as large as we can go. Perfect. All right. I'm going to click accept. And now we're going to clean up some of this data here. It's going to make our life easier. So depending on your computing power and the amount of RAM you have, this may take a few minutes, may take 30 seconds, just really all depends. All right, so overall, we're going to clear our selection. We're going to do a plane cut. Make sure we have plenty of the palette, which we have. Looks good. We have a nice solid remeshed model here. We're going to go ahead and click accept. It's going to discard a lot of the stuff above the line, which is going to make the whole process from here on out a lot more smooth. All right, so now I'm happy with that. I'm going to go into the select function, use the lasso tool. We're going to get rid of this little piece of material that's kind of floating off in no man's land by clicking discard. Last thing we're going to do is control, select all of these pieces, and we're going to combine them. We're then going to make solid. We're going to do an accurate, as highly accurate and as dense as possible. We're going to click update. And now you can see we have a solid print-ready model for a digital diagnostic wax-up in less than 20 minutes. Now I like to have a little bit more defined anatomy. It's not actually going to look like this when it prints because we print at 100 microns. So we're going to lose some of these imbrication lines. We're going to lose some of our facial anatomy. But overall, this is meant to be an additive wax-up. We're going to go ahead and click accept. At this point, we could go ahead and export our model. One thing that I will do sometimes is I'll use the sculpt function. I use some of my brushes and I'll use like a smooth brush. We'll make it a little bit smaller here. And we can go ahead and we can smooth off some of these areas. But overall, that's all we're going to do. We'll hit File, Export, and we will call this our diagnostic mockup. Okay, so now we brought this digital diagnostic wax up into preform. I went ahead and just selected my base to print flat, which is how I like to print my dental models. We'll go right about here. And you have two different options. Right now I have it set at 200 microns, which I tend to find for these actually works pretty well. I'll do it in a pinch. If I have to print at 200, if I've got the time and I'm doing this at the end of the day, I'll change my resin layer thickness to 100 microns. For a digital diagnostic mock-up, that is literally all I need. I don't notice a difference in 100 versus 50 microns. And with this draft resin, the nice thing is my print time is generally around 45 minutes, maybe an hour. This one says 33 minutes. If you calculate out your resin cost, this cost me about $2.40 to do this digital diagnostic wax up. So we just went ahead and did 4 teeth, and we have our print ready restorations in less than 20 minutes, and for a total cost out of pocket of maybe $3 plus 20 minutes of my time. I tend to find this stuff fun, so I don't really look at my time that way with these anterior restorations. But if you're trying to decide if you're going to send this off to a lab and have them do it, or do it yourself, once you get proficient, a simple case like this doesn't take us very long at all. And then we go back in the lab, we do a putty matrix, which I will include in this video to show you kind of how we do that step as well. Other than that, hope you're enjoying the video.